The opinions and views expressed here are not supported by Manatee Technical College. They are my own views on the hobby of home brewing. I am not endorsed by any products or companies I talk about throughout the video. Cheers. Hello and welcome to 4Bs and G Brewing. I'm Garrett Collins. I'm going to show you how to take water and make it into beer, as well as what it takes to start up a brewing company and be successful. So sit back, relax, grab a cold one or three, and enjoy this ride. So I have 5 steps for a successful brew day. One is I plan and I search the web for prices, shipping time, make sure I can get it in time. 2, your supplies, everything you need for brewing, so you're not searching for it on brew day. No one has time for that. 3, your gear. It's clean from your last brew day. You want to get everything ready the night before just to make sure that everything's in working order. 4, execute. Brew and follow your plan. Use your brew Bible, your brew sheets, all that good stuff. And then 5, clean your gear after you're done so everything's ready to go for the next brew day. So we just talked about the successful steps for a good brew day. Now let's go ahead and hop into brewing a beer. So there's a lot of planning that goes into a brew day. Make sure you have all your gear, make sure you have all your cleaning supplies set up, make sure you got your brewing Bible with you, and you got a good little helper dog with you that can keep you on track. So today we're going to be doing a smash beer, which means single malt, which is your grains we have in here, and a single hop. So we're just using only one hop type. So it's going to be a light, easygoing beer. It'll only take a couple of weeks to make, so that's always better. Key components to brewing. So this is where all the magic happens right here. This is basically everything that makes the beer. We have this thing called a hot liquor tank, which is I heat up with hot water and makes the brewing process go just that much faster. And then over here, this cools down the beer or the wort when it goes into the fermenter, so it just speeds up that process. So today we're going to be using Maris Otter grains. That's going to give it that the colors. And then we're going to be using Cascade hop. This one right here is single malt, single hop, is not a very bitter beer. It's a very easygoing beer. So kind of like your lagers, your light beers. Want to make sure you stir it up nice and good. So right here, what we have is all the waters in here, and the grains are in between this filter and another filter. And I have the water, you can see it, just recycling the water. So we're doing a mashing in and a mashing out process. Basically, the first 60 minutes you're doing it at, for this recipe, 153 degrees. And then for 60 minutes, after that's completed, it'll rise up in temperature to 167. We'll do that for 10 minutes. And then after that's completed, we're gonna add this, which is called your sparge water, which is gonna get all of the grains out and just flush it into a complete liquid. So depending where you live, I lived in places where the water's very good, and I've lived in places, Key West, where the water wasn't good at all. It's coming from mainland, and so it has all sorts of nasty stuff in it. So make sure that you use nice filtered water. So our mash is all done. Now we're gonna get all the sugars out of that grain, wash them out, and we're gonna make some good beer. So I just raised this pot out, and again, all the grains are inside here, so you're not gonna get all the substance that's in there. So we're gonna take this 168 degree sparge water, and we're just gonna rinse all the grains. As you can see, it's flowing out. You just wanna make sure that you're getting everything in there. This recipe calls for 3.82 gallons of sparge water. So all said and done, we're going to be using a little over 8 gallons of water to make this batch. So with the sparge being done, we're going to remove the grains and we're going to start heating this up. It's going to take about 20-30 minutes to get it to boiling, and that's going to make sure if you have any bacteria or anything that is not sanitized, it's really going to sanitize this beer, which is a very good thing. I mean, we want to make sure we're clean as possible. We finally reached boiling, which is, if you remember in science class, which was a couple years ago for me and maybe like 6 months for most of you guys in my course, is 212 degrees. We're at that. It's got a nice little boil going, so we're gonna be careful with this. Whew, it's hot. Hot. A lot of hot. All right, we got boiling water. We're gonna take this thing called the hop spider. All right, this is how I keep all my, try to keep it as clear beer as I can right now. Or wort, shall I say. So I have my first hop addition of Cascade, so I'm gonna add my hops into the beer. There it is. Press set, oil reached, and it's gonna go. So we have 60 minutes to do this in, and we're gonna be adding hop additions as it goes. We're gonna do it a 60-minute addition, so right when we start boiling, we're gonna do another addition in 30 minutes, and then with 5 minutes to go, we're gonna add our 5-minute addition, and then let it roll out to 0 minutes, and then we'll be pretty much done outside of cleaning up everything. So how long does brewing take? It takes anywhere from 4 hours from start to finish to, if you do a couple batches a day, 8, 9, 10 hours. So there's a lot of downtime, but there's also a lot of time that you really need to be on your game, watch all your timers, follow your brewing Bible, and doing all that good stuff. So what do I do to in the meantime? Well, I eat, pour some good beers, taste test, right? You always gotta taste test. Clean your gear as you go. It makes it just that much easier. We are done with the beer. It is now wort. It's done its 60 minutes of boiling. We've added all the hops. Now we gotta cool it down so we can put it in this bad boy called the fermenter. So here's this contraption that cools down this wort and makes it that much cooler so we can get the fermenting process going quicker. So basically I have this blue hose that I'm told is hooked up to the cold water or our hose. So we'll turn that on. That's turned on. You'll see that the water's coming out. It's still nice and cold. We're gonna turn the pump on, and what that's gonna do is suck out the beer, and it's gonna go through these lines and into our fermenter. I put it in this bucket so we don't waste water. And as you can see, the beer is flowing into the fermenter as we speak. Time to clean. Put it in 140-degree water with some sanitizer in it. Gonna clean all the pipes out. So we cleaned out all the pipes, all the hoses, get all the residual out, and it's time to dry everything. We're done. So you hear me talk about fermenters and fermentation. It's a process where yeast converts glucose in the wort to alcohol and carbon dioxide gas, or CO2, to give beer its alcohol content and carbonation. The fermentation process starts when cooled wort is transferred to a fermentating vessel and yeast is added. You hear me talk about the glycol chiller. Basically what it is a refrigeration unit that cools the liquid in its reservoir. So in this case, in the fermenter, I got coils, and the cold water goes through that and keeps my beer fermenting at a certain temperature that I want it to. Bubbles. So before we transfer the fermented beer into the keg, I got my trusty brew binder, my Bible as I call it. We're gonna be using this tool called the hydrometer, and what this does, it measures the alcohol content. I open the valve and fill up the hydrometer test jar and make sure the hydrometer floats or you will not get a proper reading. The beer we brewed came in at 4.59% alcohol. We finished up kegging the beer. I cleaned the lines in the kegerator and preps for the first glorious pour of beer. Keg's been hooked up to the CO2 for 3 days to carbonate. The next step is to pour that first perfect pint of beer. All right, so here's the moment I've been waiting for. After many weeks of putting in the labor of brewing the beer, fermenting the beer, kegging the beer, cleaning everything up, now it's time to sample the beer. Gotta dial in the carbonation. There it is, nice, fresh, clear beer right there. Cheers. That's a tasty adult beverage. Thanks for watching. So let's talk about wanting to own a brewery, start up a brewery, and being successful. I talked to my buddy Brock Dewar, who owns and is a lead brewer at Lake Stevens Brewing Company in Lake Stevens, Washington. Beautiful place, never been there, give it a try. I asked him how did he get into brewing, and he said he was running a half marathon, got tired of training for that, and wanted to have some beers with some friends, so he invited some friends over to his garage and they brewed beer. They loved it. They brewed 14 more batches. I guess they drank a lot of their homebrew and decided to open up a brewery in 2017. Currently, they're being very successful. They went from a 900 square foot little bike shop that they turned into a brewery that had a 1 barrel system. So a 1 barrel system produces 31 gallons at any given time for a batch. And then after they became successful in 2017, 2018, and 2019, they upped their system up to a 2 barrel system, which is 62 gallons. Currently right now they're building a new brewery in Lake Stevens, Washington, and they're trying to decide if they're gonna have a 10 barrel or a 20 barrel. So they're gonna go from making 62 gallons currently to 310 gallons or possibly 620 gallons of beer. I asked him how do they stay successful, and he says, grinding it out, not taking no for an answer, trying to be the best. If the product's not good, don't put a bad product out there. You're not gonna be successful. I guess that goes with anything. So you could take that in life, from brewing to life. If you take no for an answer, you're probably gonna fail. If you put a bad product out there, you're probably gonna fail. So do your best, be your best.